Andy Copping has been talking to the Rolling Stone about the future of Download. Having surpassed its early goal of hosting more editions of Download than there were Monsters of Rock, Copping sees no reason to not be thinking about the next 10 or 20 years. He's quoted as saying, "There's plenty of bands out there for us to continue the growth, and there's bands that haven't even formed yet, but in 10 years' time could be headliners." So names like Blink-182, Fall Out Boy, My Chemical Romance, each of which has 15 or 20 years under their belts, come up. And would Copping consider those heritage acts? On paper, yes, he says he would. But they still have a certain freshness about them. Would you class Limp Bizkit as a heritage act? I guess not really, in the way that you would say that about AC/DC. Fucking hell, they're two different categories, aren't they?
But it's about 30 years between them, isn't it? Not more.
Yeah, I mean, AC/DC is quite a push, but when you think about the bands that are taking those high slots, like they say they've got My Chem, Fall Out Boy, all that kind of stuff, they're 20-year-old bands, right? And when you get into that 20, 30, 40-year-old territory, by default, you're talking about your AC/DCs and stuff, but are we going to be watching Fred Durst doing it when he's 70? I don't know.
Fucking hope so.
I hope so. But at some point, AC/DC was that young, energetic, ridiculously high-powered rock band who you probably couldn't imagine doing it when they were 80. And here they are. And same with Metallica, same with Iron Maiden. You won't imagine seeing them for 40 years on the trot, but it's hard to... When you're in that zone of being us youngsters here, you know... and they're the bands we grew up with. They don't feel that old, but actually we've grown up as they've grown up.
Yeah. I
So they still
that's
feel
true.
young to us, but to someone that's in high school, Limp Bizkit are a proper old band now.
So I saw Blink-182 on a Dad's CD not too long ago. I was like,
Oh,
bloody
God.
hell, I'm not even that old. At 28, I'm not even that old. But
No, I know.
I felt about 20 years older, thinking bloody hell.
This is it. Someone listens to Rolling when they're 13 years old now.
Yeah.
That's how old now? 15, 20 years old nearly? It's an old
Something
track
like
now, that. But it still sounds fresh to our ears because we listened to that when we were kids. And
It was your formative years of getting into music, wasn't it? It was forming your taste.
Yeah.
He also throws the likes of Paramore into the mix, as well as heavy metal heroes Iron Maiden and punk mainstays Green Day. But what feels more exciting about Download's future is how palpable Copping's passion is for nurturing talent, which, Rich, I guess you would have some complaints about, because we don't really see that this year.
Yeah, but we've gone round with this discussion, though, haven't we, several times over several episodes about how do you book the festival in the future. But to me, I'm fully in agreement with Eamon. It's like these bands who are 20, 25, 30 years old now are old bands, and it just hit me then. I got quite distracted when he said it, because that makes us fucking old. And I was talking to Steph the other day, kind of having a bit of an existential crisis of I don't feel like I'm 40 next year, right? And I don't feel like I'm 40 next year. Okay, my body doesn't work very well, but mentally I feel like I'm still 16, 18, something like that.
Yeah, Rich, can I just
guess that's
say...
quite a normal thing for everybody to feel, right?
I think it's a millennial thing. I think that honestly, I feel exactly the same as you, Rich, right? I'm 41, right? And I've been picking up from other people of this age that we haven't aged in the same way that our parents have done. I don't feel 41 at all. So it's not just you.
No, I know. It hits at home when you hear it out loud again, and you kind of really realise that you're saying that we've grown up with these bands as they've grown up, and it's like fuck.
But you know what though? I think keeping up with new music keeps you young.
Yeah.
But can I? I know this isn't going to help the conversation, but
No, sure.
Google's a friend. Right now, just round table of the room. When did When did Rollin' get released? What year?
I reckon it was about. I'm trying to think. I know I was in high school. I think I was probably year 9, so I'm going to go for 99.
99.
I was thinking 97. I just have for some reason I have that in my head.
97.
It might be 97.
Neil?
2000.
Well, Neil's correct with 2000.
See, I'm not.
It's 24 years old, that song.
Wow.
But like when you hear that live, how fresh does that feel?
Yeah.
Like when they strum that out in fucking a few months' time at Download Festival, everyone's gonna be going nuts. It's gonna feel like they're this energetic band.
Yeah,
And
it is.
But what
They're a
outfit are we
legacy
going to get
act.
Fred Durst in? That's the real question. Are we getting Cowboy Fred Durst or
I hope so.
like? Like, I love the energy of that.
Yeah. It's mental when you think about it. But yeah, they're legacy acts now. This is the whole thing. Like Limp Bizkit, well, maybe not legacy, but like 10 years' time, if they're still doing it, that's the same age as, I don't know, I'm going to pluck things out of hair, but AC/DC was probably headlining earlier into their career. They were headlining Monsters of Rock. You know, but when you throw in Sleep Token to the mix, they could headline Download next year and they'll be less into their career. So there's a whole different kind of reach there, isn't there? So it's...
Well, I suppose people reach their peak as a band at different points in their lives. I mean, Sleep Token are just about 30, I should imagine, looking at them
Yeah.
and knowing very little about them.
You've got those birth certificates, haven't you, Neil? That was you.
But then you've got other bands who reach their peak when they're 20, or you know, it's all very different for every band. So they are going to be different ages. That you know, and then you look at bands who were massive when we were early teens, and some have carried on, some haven't carried on, some were different ages, some were older, younger. It's all a bit of a mixture. So.
And how many bands were tipped to make it? You know, your Triviums were tipped to be headlining festivals now. Bullet for My Valentine back in the day were told they were going to headline in festivals now. Like, but they haven't. It's been.
I remember seeing a photo of Bullet. They did that arena, didn't they? I think it was Nottingham.
Yeah,
Where like it was half curtained.
yeah, they did. Yeah,
A band of Bullet that were like about to tip to be doing massive things and they couldn't fill an arena. That's
Yeah.
mental.
but like here you are. You've got Sleep Token coming out of nowhere, and headlining fucking ridiculous arena tours. You've got bands that you wouldn't have expected to appear, and like Coppin says, bands that haven't even formed yet will be headlining the festival in 10 years' time. Like if you'd have told me Bring Me the Horizon would have been headlining Download or anything ever, when I saw them like decades ago opening, and they were this fucking trashy death metal band who were fucking sick. If you'd have told me they would be what they are now, I'd have probably slapped you and been like, go away, you're not cult enough. Like, and then here I am, like, dancing around to Teardrops at Download last year.
That's mad, isn't it? I mean, the turnaround. I mean, they weren't even welcome at Download for a long time.
Yeah, they weren't.
And then they headline it, and then people are absolutely loving them. So, I mean, you just can't predict it, can you?
No.